Yo, what's up? Greetings to everyone. Welcome to the Raw Approach. I am Dr. Woods. We're glad to have you here on today. Hey, before we bring our guest on, a couple things I want to share and get everybody to do. So we can keep this thing going. Like the page and share it. Like the page and share it. And also, I have on there, follow me on YouTube and subscribe at therawapproach.com. The Raw Approach, the Raw has spirit. So it's PATR.A.W. approach.com. But take the .com out. It's the Raw Approach. All right? All right, we got that. And last but not least, if you are out there in the social media world, hey, just follow me because I think I'm at my capacity 5,000 people. So here we go. I'm about to bring the star on for today. It's the world famous Ron Johnson is in the house with us on the day. How you doing, brother Ron?
Hey, too blessed to be stressed. Doing well, yes, sir.
Hey, what they say? I'm too stressed to be blessed, and I'm not worried about none of that mess.
None of that mess. That's right. Let's go. Real though. Yes.
Man, that's yes. Good to have you. Hey, well, go ahead and let's go ahead and just get on into the show, man. Go ahead and tell the people about you. Give them a little brief introduction about Mr. Ron Johnson.
Man, thank you. Thank you.
Have the stage for a second.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Woods. Man, I just want y'all to know my name is Ron Johnson, and I am a native of Memphis, Tennessee, born and bred, but came here to Tennessee State to play football. Finished up in 1986. Lived a full life here in Nashville, still doing the things that I do. I have been working and serving our community for a very long time. It started in 1984, the summer of 1984. I got a summer job at Martha O'Brien, and I got that bug. I got what we call that bug to serve, and it's been going down ever since then. Me and my best friend, Roger Holmes, went and was working those summer jobs over at Martha O'Brien while we played football. It was incredible. And it has changed my life because it has taken me all around the world and going.
That's what's up, man. And the things about, we all know when we worked at, even at Awesome P, man, we work at these different community health centers. And then you realize, like for me, I looked up 27 years later, I'm still doing that, which was a side job, but it became a passion. You know what I'm saying? So with all that, it brings me to go ahead and dive in to ask you, how did you get started into your business and the stuff that you do? Because I got a lot of different layers, because, I know you from the detention, and we're going to get through all that type stuff. But, let's just go ahead and start it right here.
Let me tell you how it really kind of got started. I'm a former football player for Tennessee State University. So that was kind of one of the things that kept me going and wanting to serve. And they all used to call me Spider-Man. So I'll just tell y'all a quick story on kind of how that bug really bit me. One day I decided to come to work at Martha O'Brien, being called Spider-Man. I went and bought the whole Spider-Man suit. And keep in mind, it was not Halloween. This was June or July. I went and bought a Spider-Man suit, went to work, had it under my clothes, went into the bathroom and changed and come out with the whole Spider-Man suit on, gloves and everything. And the kids went wild. It was over 300 kids there. Let me tell you, this is not the story, but the story was the bug bit me. I jumped up on the rim. I climbed up to the top of the backboard. The kids was going wild. I climbed all the way up to the rafters. Turned upside down on the rafters like a real spider, climbed back down, stands up on the top of the backboard, jumped off the backboard, jumped off the rim, pulled my mask off and tell 300 kids, now go home and tell your mama Spider-Man's a black man. Boy, they went wild. But that ain't even the story. That is not, the story was, this was 30 plus years later. I was at the racetrack gas station in Hermitage. There was this young man, probably in his 30s, late 30s or early 40s. He had his two little boys with him, and he was looking at me like, he know me or something. So I'm like, bro, you all right? I'm thinking that I'm like, you got some beef with me? And he was like, man, don't they call you Spider-Man? And I said, yep. He said, and then he looked at his two little boys. I told y'all. I said, what you talking about, man? He said, man, I have gone all my life since that day you came into that gym and pulled that mask off and told us Spider-Man was a black man. I told him, I knew who the real Spider-Man was. I didn't care who they showed on TV. I knew him personally. And he said, I raised my kids telling them about Spider-Man. They got a chance to meet him right here today.
Well, that's what's up.
As long as I live.
That's what's up. All right, Spider-Man. Now we know you as Spider-Man. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, but you know, it's amazing how we do little foolish things and that nickname stick with us forever.
Ever. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And not forever. I think Bernie Mac said, you know, that's a long ass time when you take the four off that mug.
Forever. For real, man.
That's what's up, man. I see we got a couple of people. The people that's backstage, are you participating? If you are not participating, I ask that you go to Facebook and hit the like. You're more than welcome to ask any questions and concerns or anything like that. But we're going to have to remove you off the stage if you're not participating and asking. All right. So I just want to let you know before I remove you. All right. So, all right, Spider-Man. So let's go on into something a little bit different here. Tell me about growing up, the family style, the family life. What was that like for you?
Well,
especially coming from Memphis.
Oh yeah, coming from Memphis. I'm straight from North Memphis. I'm from North Memphis. I'm from Hollywood, where anyone that's from Memphis and they tell you they from Hollywood. I'm from the heart where the beat of Memphis lives, right there. North Memphis, Hollywood, and Chelsea is where I'm from. I grew up in an area called the Goodwill Village. And I'm the fifth of 10 boys, but all of us didn't grow up in the house together. But there were 10 boys all together. My mom raised 7 of us in the house together, and I'm the middle child of that group. And growing up was pretty tough. I got to tell you, because originally we started out in the country. I was a little country boy. We had horses, we had ponies, we had a few cows. I would come and ride the cows and stuff, And I'll never forget the day we moved from the country to those projects. I hated it with a passion. And I knew then that, one, I felt like I was going to have to go over into this doggone project and fight a lot of jokers. And that was exactly what I did. I mean, honest to God, my brothers could probably tell you the story best. I really used to be in fights almost every day. But I got into martial arts. I thought I was Bruce Lee. So every time you saw I'm getting into a fight, I'm doing a karate.
So now we see how you went from Bruce Lee to Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Oh man, my brothers could tell you the story because they would always say, every time I would go to the community center, someone would come running from the community center telling them, Ronnie Key up there fighting. They call me Ronnie Key, which my name is. If you hear somebody say Ronnie Key, they from Memphis. No one knows me by that name here. Ronnie Key is, that whole name they call you by. But my name is Ron O. Keith Johnson. But they call me Ronnie Key in Memphis, those who really know me well. Up here, they call me Ron or they call me Spider-Man. Like, got people that still don't know my real name to this day, since 1982. They don't know my real name. They just know Spider-Man. And every year someone would ask me, hey, what's your real name? Isn't that wild?
Let me tell you why I understand that 100%. Unless you knew me from my job, but most people that knew me from school or just in the community, they knew me as Chop. And really, most people never really knew my name until I finished school, got my doctorate, because I put out there in the beginning, Dr. Chop, that was my name. But as I started moving, he's so silly. But as I started moving, getting the business, the raw approach going and all that type stuff, I said, okay, man, you're going to have to start using your name, let people know who you are. And then when I started doing that, people were like, who is Reginald Woods?
So, and that's real. Yeah, that's real.
I mean, and I tell people, you know, and I tell people don't take it personal. You know, it's one of them things that a lot of people that know Chop, they know of me. You don't know me.
They don't know
and because if you knew me, you would figure out my name was Reginald,
right?
You know, or Reginald Woods, or anything like that. But because Chop was, you know, people like, what's his name? I just say Chop. They kept it moving. You know what I'm saying? And it's this lady that went to school with us at Austin P. And this is, I'm about to show our age for real. And back then, if you needed somebody's phone number, you would call. Actually, with the security office, right? You would call the security office, and you had somebody on dispatch, and then they would give you the 4-digit code to call, you know, somebody's phone on. And they kept people. She said that people would call up the, hey, can I get Chop number? And they'd be like, who is this Chop? And so they had to look up my name and put Chop beside my name in order for, because he said no one knew, not even them. Knew my real name.
That is,
you know what I'm saying? So sometimes a nickname can become more of an epidemic, more of a fanfare than your real name. You know what I'm saying? So,
especially from family. You know, I got a cousin. I'll never forget this as long as I live. My cousin was about 17 years old, and we were somewhere, and she and my youngest brother at that time was together, and somebody asked, so what's your name? He said, my name is Chris. He said, what is your name? Y'all look like y'all could be twins. We're first cousins. And she said, my name's Stank. We used to call her Stank because her diapers used to stink. She's a baby. Her name is Katina. Her name is Katina, but we used to call her Stank. So she answered to, my name is Stank. So that those nicknames, your name is not Stank. That's what we call you. You know, those nicknames stick. My little brother that's up under me, his name is Skip. I mean, his name is Kim Bernard Johnson, but we call him Skip. You'll never hear anybody call him Kim in our family. Never.
Yeah. But you know, that's crazy though, man. It's crazy. But I tell people all the time, I said, man, I knew my nickname was popular when my mama stopped calling me by my name and called me Chop.
Now that's good. That's a real good one right there.
I mean, when my mama called me Chop, then I'm like, okay, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Wow.
But all right, man. Let me ask you. So I asked you about the inspiration, and where did your inspiration come from? You know, we talk about what we know with the businesses and all of that. You know, where did it come from? Who inspired you, or who was that key figure for you?
Let me tell you, my daddy was my hero.
Okay.
I couldn't stand my daddy, but he was my hero. Like, I didn't have no Spider-Man, Superman, Batman. Herman Johnson was my hero. And my daddy, I'd be standing at the door waiting for him to come home. And he'd come home from out of that doggone cement truck full of cement. I'm standing there waiting on him at the door. He'd come in the house, and first thing he want to do is sit down in that chair, give me a change the TV on Wonder Woman, the Farrah Fawcett Wonder Woman, one that spin around. And we would sit there and watch 2 or 3 episodes of Wonder Woman. And boy, I would laugh. And I'm like, this man is in love with Wonder Woman. You know, but he was my hero.
Hold on, let me back up. You said Farrah Fawcett or Linda Gray?
Is it Linda Gray? Which one is it? Linda Gray. Farrah Fawcett,
yeah.
Linda Gray.
You were watching too much of the Fall Guy.
All of that, man. My daddy, let me tell you, my daddy, I would sit down there and be there with him watching all of that. But boy, I couldn't stand it, man, because boy, his discipline was just like no other, man. Oh my God. It was that's kind of where I got a lot of my inspiration from. You know, my daddy he had a 3rd grade education, could not read, really nor write. He signed with an X. But you could give him the blueprint of the house that you would like for him to build for you. And that
can build it.
And it used to blow me away. And I would ask my mama, how can this man do this? She said, he learned numbers better than he's learned anything than writing his name. He knew numbers and measurements and all of that. Well, my mom, she was one that worked. My mom worked in the cafeteria when I went to middle school, elementary school at Scenic Hill. And that was a motivation. But one of the things my mom used to say to me, and I'll give you something that just, I would want to do certain things. So one day I'll never forget, my mom took me to the service station with her. And back then they would pump your gas. And so I jumped out of the car to go to the bathroom, and I'm about to go into this bathroom. My mom said, "Oh, baby, no, don't go in that one. Go in that one right there." This was 1968.
Okay.
I go into this bathroom and I come back out, and I was like, "Mom, why you make me go in that one? It was nasty." She said, "Baby, don't worry about it. Everything's gonna be all right." At that time, the law had just changed that little black kids couldn't go in the same bathroom that white kids could go in.
Right.
My mom was so in tune with things like no other. She didn't get angry. She didn't make me feel no. She said, "Baby, don't worry about it. Everything's gonna be all right." And that is one of the things that I live by right now. So much so I have my mom tattooed on my arm right here.
Mm-hmm.
And right up under it, it says, "Everything's gonna be all right." And I'll tell you a little bit later on exactly why it's there, because I didn't even believe in tattoos and all that. But my mom, she is the inspiration behind me being successful in everything that I've done from that point forward. Is knowing that no matter what I go through, no matter how hard things are, everything is gonna be all right.
You know what, man? And I had a friend, and her got to talking about something one day. She said, "I don't understand. No matter what cards you are dealt, no matter how bad situations are, it's like nothing rattles you."
Yep.
And I told her, I said, "That's because I control what I can control, and what I can't control, I don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Because all it's going to do is stress you out.
Yep.
And you still can't do nothing about it."
Yep.
And I said, sometime in life, some things appear to be the worst thing to you, but not saying that you use your past experience or your experience and compare it to somebody else in order for. I don't look at it as a comparison. I look at it as it still could be worse.
Oh, that's right.
It can be worse. It still can, and it can be. It's how you respond to it. All right. I got a couple more people coming on. If there's anybody that want to make any comment or ask Brother Johnson any questions, let me know, and we're gonna go from there. All right. Let's see. Let's go here. How do you handle? Because I know you got everything going on in your life. How do you handle work-life balance, brother?
Let me tell you, one of the things that I got deeply engaged and involved in. Some years ago, I was in Africa, in Ghana, and I met this guy named Dr. Kofi Kwanzwani. And what I learned as we were friends and during that time that I was there, I spent 3.5 months there. He and I spent almost every day together for about 2 or 3 weeks. And then after that, we got to hang out with Danny Glover during that time. Well, Dr. Kofi is a professor at Morehouse School of Medicine, but he also is a 50-year guru in meditation. He has his own modality, which is called consciously resting meditation. And about 10, 12 years ago, he certified only 15 people in the world to be CRM, consciously resting meditation specialists. And so for me, that work balance became to where I learned how to unplug and to be still. And now I teach others. I have taught thousands of people how to be quiet, I would say. In other words, letting them know that being quiet is just as important as you think it is for you to talk. And I'm able to help you understand. And one of the things that we teach is in our form of meditation is we want you to have a transcending experience. We can't make you have it, but we want you to have it. In other words, we have about 60 to 70 plus thousand thoughts that go through our mind daily. What I'm able to help you do is I'm able to help you settle all that down, get to a point to where you have no thoughts. In other words, when you have no thoughts, that is a transcending experience. You've heard people say, man, I had an out-of-body experience. I felt like I wasn't here. Well, if you were to accept what I'm able to teach you and show you how you can have that experience by learning how to be quiet and be still and meditate. You know, the Bible tells you to meditate on his word day and night, that you're not sinning against him. But when you say that to some people who believe, I don't think they really understand what that means. It's not memorize a scripture. It says meditate. Meditate means that you have to go in, because see, the enemy is the inner me. So I want to help you go inside and make absolutely sure that you don't be the enemy to the inner me, so you can have relationship with the inner you. In other words, greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world. So when I meditate, I'm able to just take it all the way there.
We have a couple of comments and questions for you. Marquise has stated that it is wipe and reset is what it's called. Is what she called it.
Oh, wipe and reset. Hey, yeah. That's a good method.
That's a good
method. Wipe it all and reset it. Yes.
Yeah, wipe it all and reset it. And then one thing that my doctoral research showed me from the Mental Health Institute, it identified all these different things that a person can do in order to renew themselves. And meditation was one of the key factors. And also it talks about total unplug, totally unplug. And people really don't understand totally unplug. And that's what you're talking about as well, is being in that situation, get away from everything, put that phone up, cut that phone off, find you somewhere and just totally unplug. And that means the most important thing, which is hard for a lot of people, shut your mouth for a little while. Shut your mouth. You don't always have to talk. You don't always have to say, okay, you are your biggest enemy. And that's what people don't understand. You know, when you by yourself and you can't stay off their phone, or you have to call someone, or you got to text someone, you are your biggest enemy. And everything that we've been talking about today is about what you have to do to check yourself. And a lot of this is about checking yourself.
That's right.
Because, man, you'd be surprised how many conversations that I have with people. They know what they need to do to get themselves where they need to be. 3 or 4 years go past, and they be like, I know it, but they still haven't done it. And I'd be like, man, you're wearing yourself down. Or I tell them, I say, because what's going to happen, and Adrian spoke on the show a couple of weeks ago, and this is so important, man. Especially if you're a spiritual person, if you don't set yourself down, God got a way of setting you down in a way that you don't want to be set down. You know what I'm saying? So, but let me back up. So, Starla asks, growing up in Memphis, what does resilience mean to you?
Let me tell you, resilience, growing up in Memphis and being resilient means an awful lot, because if I would not have left Memphis on a scholarship to come and play football and had that Memphis in me, I'm telling you right now, I don't think I would have made it, because a lot of the friends that I had that was living that life, they're no longer here. And it's unfortunate. And then the other thing is they have aged so to where it's like, you cannot be this age. And it's like, wow, because I get it all the time. People tell me there's no way you're in your 60s. No, it's can't. But here's the thing. I've taken good care of myself. Here's the thing that I didn't do. I didn't drink. I didn't smoke. Still don't now. Didn't do it then. No. Don't do it now. Now, I'm not saying that's anybody else's problem. I'm just saying for me, one, I couldn't handle it, because weed, the time I did smoke it, you didn't want me to smoke it. And when I drank, the time I did drink, you didn't want me to drink it, because it did something to me. I was not myself, and I didn't like the way it made me feel, so I didn't do it. So that's one of the other things. And resilience was too, is I had an incredible family. My brothers, we are very tight. We were tight then, growing up, and we're very tight now. That right there is real, real important. Most people don't understand. A healthy family life also makes you healthier as a being, because Premature death comes from people, a lot of folks who don't have friendships or don't have relationships that are healthy.
Yes.
That's what makes you prematurely die along the way. And that is a true science and research that's out there that says that people die prematurely because of their lack of relationship, that being alone. People, I don't need nobody. Well, that's not true. We do need each other. And that is what I had. The resilience was coming from Clara Mae Johnson, my daddy with a third grade education, one of the smartest man I ever knew. My mom only had a sixth grade education, but she could help me with my work. I went to school to be an electrical engineer. You know, you think about that. Most of the time when you find people going and doing these high degrees where they're very smart, they come from parents that are, you know, seeded like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Then you have some folks that go and they kind of put a lot of effort in. Well, I came from two people that didn't even get past the seventh grade. And I am the only one to graduate from college, but not the only one to go. But I know now I'm one of the smartest dudes that I've ever known. But back then, when I was in school, in high school, I didn't think that because I had this form of dyslexia that you know, people didn't even know I had it until I.
Well, let's talk about that. We had a show where Michael Reagan was on, and he identified that he was starting to work on his master's degree at 24 years old, and that's when he found out he was dyslexic.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to provide him service, and he was like, "Man, I'm about to work on a master's degree, okay, but I do it." But he was like, "It's almost too late," but he still took the services and moved on. And then, and that triggered someone that was watching the show, and she identified she was 53 years old. She just got found out she was dyslexic, but she had just finished her doctorate degree, but didn't know what the issues was going on until she was diagnosed. And it's almost kind of sad because these things should be tested way before, and it's supposed to be tested in grade school.
Very early, yes, very early. Yeah. Let me tell you how. Now, I didn't know this, but let me tell you what happened in the 12th grade, and then you tell me from experience. So in the 12th grade, I was asked to go to the board, to write on the board. One of my favorite teachers, Miss Holman, and you know how when they get you on the board, they saying things, and you're supposed to write it, and you got to spell it right, and you got to write it where people can read it. And so I started doing some things, and I couldn't understand what they were saying, and I couldn't spell it. So I would scribble a little bit, and then I just got so frustrated and angry. Usually what happens, you want to get out of the situation. So in a moment, I turned around and I threw the chalk at the teacher. Now here I am, a senior in high school. That's an assault. So I get sent to the principal's office. I get to Mr. McDonald's office, and I'm sitting in there. And he's like, "Man, you one of my top athletes. What are you doing and what are you thinking about?" And I broke down for the very first time and told him that I couldn't spell what I was being asked to put on the board. And I was in tears. And you believe it or not, that man sat there, McDonald, he was the toughest principal you ever want to meet. That man cried with me. But he said, "I'll be right back." He went down there to that room and got Miss Holman, and he came back, and they were standing outside the glass there, just looking in there at me. So I'm like, boy, I'm going to get kicked out of school and just everything. And Miss Holman walked in there, and she was in tears, and she said, "Mr. Johnson," she said, "I didn't know." She said, you do all the work, you turn in your homework. She said, "But I did notice that when we do those pop quiz that you need more time." I said, "Well, you're absolutely right. I can make an A on a 15-minute quiz, but it might take me 30 minutes.
Right.
And she said, "You know what? Here's what I need you to do." And I didn't even get suspended, didn't even get reprimanded for that. She said, "When you go to college next year, I need you to go to every last one of your professors and you tell them what you have issues with. And I guarantee you they will work with you." Every last one of my professors during my career at Tennessee State University knew that I had a spelling impediment. And every last one of them worked with me, and I graduated with honors, not with one, but with 2 degrees, because I was able to identify what was going on with me and how I had issues. So when we would do 15-minute quiz, I would always stay back after class because I would get 10 more minutes to finish, and I'll make an A just like everybody else. But I just couldn't do it in 15 minutes.
Well, and the thing is, I've worked in a lot of alternative schools. Actually, schools they call day schools. These are kids that got kicked out of the alternative schools. So it was an alternative school for the alternative school kids that got kicked out of alternative school.
Alternative.
Yes, an alternative. But it really put me into focus of when I was in high school, elementary, or even middle school, learning the behaviors when, one of my classmates would be at the board or refuse to go to the board. It would be a good class, but when the teacher called them to go to the board, it was at the plumb fool because they didn't want to get up there to spell. They didn't want to get up there to read or write. And when I began to learn about this last year, that's exactly what a lot of it is. It's not that they couldn't do the work. It doesn't look when they. It's like an opposite. It's like a total opposite, and it become confusing because what's right, but it's just not registering. So to finally get to the point and see that at that level, and to start working with them kids and start getting them the services and make sure they got special education meetings and IEPs and all that type stuff. But during that time, a lot of that stuff was not going on for a lot of our kids and a lot of us at that time. So it's good to see people get those services and being able to move but the important thing is a lot of people didn't have that opportunity where somebody said, when you get to that school, you tell them what your issues are. You know what I'm saying? So that stuff is, very important. I appreciate you sharing that.
I teach that to young people right now because I deal with young people from the juvenile justice system, how that is. And I also deal with men who are in the federal prison system. Most of those men don't have that higher educational space in their repertoire. And I talk about that. That's what I do when I do all of my mentoring.
Well, that's perfect for our next topic, dealing with the mentoring.
Wow.
That's the next topic, dealing with mentoring, man. Like I said, I met you mentoring and with the juveniles at the detention center. So, give us a little bit more information about that.
So let me tell you. I have a program that I founded along with two other guys, Dr. Vincent Morelli and Tay McGee. We founded a program called Street Solid. It's a peel off from the program that I started / semi-founded at the Oasis Center called the Real Program. Well, Street Solid, we are a program centered around helping men and or young boys basically find their way. Every last one of us are CBT certified, cognitive behavioral trained. We have paraprofessional certificates from one of the world's leaders in cognitive behavioral therapy, Dr. Pucci, out of West Virginia. We really, really, really know without a doubt that the most important thing that we can do to help a person change is to help change their mind. If we can help you change your mind, we can help you change anything about your life and time. So what we do as a mentor is we create a mirror, so to speak. In other words, when I go and meet with some of my guys, right now I run the mentoring program for our federal court system here with the former head of the federal probation department. Her and I mentor guys that Judge Crenshaw and them sent over to us to try and help them. And we know 1 hour a week of a positive male figure in your life can change your life forever. And that's whether you're male or female. If you have 1 hour of a positive male figure in your life, research says that it can change your life. In other words, we make absolutely sure that we help these young people through these stages as far as mentorship. We kind of start off with anger management because some people don't understand why they're angry.
Yes.
Go from anger management to trauma. Most people don't understand the things that they have so deep embedded inside their amygdala and the hippocampus, that trauma where it lives and stays blocked off and hidden. and then pops up when something happens. Integrity, identity, all of these things we delve into for that person to kind of find themselves. As I said earlier, the enemy is the inner me. If I can help you find a way to go inside and to examine the inside of you, that's what they do when you got something going on. They can't see it, so they got to take an X-ray or they got to do an MRI and so on. So, well, how about you doing an MRI on yourself and finding out what's wrong? Because here's the thing: we, like you said earlier, we know what it is,
right?
But years pass and we still haven't done it. And some people say you have to hit the bottom. Well, I don't necessarily think you have to hit the bottom. I just think you got to make up your mind.
That's it.
You make up your mind, the bottom won't ever come close. That's where you'll end up finding your way. And that's kind of what we do in our mentorship. And been doing that there basically since 1984. That's what I've been doing. You know, it's been called a bunch of different things, you know, real program. Street Scholar right now is kind of where you can kind of go and find what we're doing right now. We just got invited to go to Sweden to talk to those people over there in that country about the work that we've been doing over here. I'm doing a big thing with our state reentry program. So I'm just excited, man, right now, because the work that I have been doing, it is finally paying off in a way to where I can't describe how happy I am, because I can say, wow, that was
that's a wonderful feeling, man. I you know, as we talked before we went on the show, and then you talked about Sweden, and I was telling you that Sweden is one of the first countries that has been following this platform as we deal with employee relations, dealing with corrections, and everything that deals with that, being that mentor, being that positive vibe, being that positive male role model. And then the first thing you say is, what, you know, the contract that you're dealing with Sweden and how they need that reform and they want that reform. And the most positive aspect of that is what I tell people, man, you got to put yourself in a situation where you just can't give up. If you know that there's something that's passionate about what you are doing, then people going to see that passion and that love for what you're doing. You just got to keep going. You can't get discouraged. That's going to come times, because, you know, I tell a lot of times there's situations where you be like, man, I got to do this. I don't have the resources for this, but and that the importance is that collaboration to keep going and keep going, because there's somebody that needs something that you have that can help get them to that next level, which on the other side is going to help get you to that next level.
That's right.
And you cannot be ashamed of it, or you can't be scared of it. And then the next thing that you and I talked about was, I was telling you that how you was telling me you had your stuff about being in your head, and you finally putting it on paper and making it work. And I said, well, I got you know, stuff on paper. I have the research and just slowly but surely taking it to that next level. And I was explaining to you that when this stuff is in your head, until you get this stuff out and move, you really can't focus on anything else. And to me, that was just confirmation, because when I try to share that with people, that if this stuff is not released out of my head, I can't focus on anything else, because in order to focus on something else, that means I'm failing myself. You know what I'm saying? And there's no other way. There's no other way. And you know, it's just good to have that conversation with you, to know, you know, that was like confirmation that, you know, you're on the right track. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep, you know, now, you know, it's a good thing. I just talked about 2 weeks ago that I'm in, or last week, that my show and everything is booming in 17 countries. And we got the data just as of yesterday. It's going to 23 countries. You know what I'm saying? So everything is constantly moving. It's been effective. And man, I get so many conversation pieces and potential contracts from the Philippines and all that. And it's so crazy, because I never imagined that I'd be talking to people on a continuous basis and doing consultation from people that's not in America. You know, in my head, I felt that all my clients was going to be here in America. But there is no, I think I got one now, one is done. You know, I do education consulting with someone that's here in America, but everybody else is in the whole nother countries. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's one of them situations that you got to be careful not to limit yourself in your minute mind, because what God has for you is bigger than what you could ever imagine.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So, hey, man, it's been good having this conversation with you.
Yeah. Man.
All right. Let me see here. We done went to the mentoring and I well, let you know what I seen you. Hold on, I got something for you. This is about to be
skeleton.
Here we go.
Keep putting in that work. Keep putting in that work. You know why? You almost there. You almost there. It's gonna pay off. It's gonna pay off. And they don't want you to know that. They don't want to give you that inspiration. They don't want to tell you you're right there. You're right motherfucking there. And it's gonna pay off. You're gonna win big. You're right there. You're right there.
Yeah, I'm right there.
All right. What was going on with them little bitty fingers, man? What are you doing with them fingers?
What fingers? Come on, them right there. Hey, that's in the beginning.
I feel you, man. I feel like I had to get with you, you know, go and let you represent, man.
You know, they say in the beginning there was only two. Eve was a delta and Adam was a crew. But that's one thing they did not understand. The man up above was an alpha man.
Oh man, that's what's up, man. Keep representing. Yes. I got a couple of little clips, man. I want to show you. Just get your thoughts on it, man. Here we go. There comes a time where you just have to allow the knowers and the audience around you to just let them do what they do, and don't let it faze you. What's your thoughts about that, my dog?
Well, let me tell you. See, that was a person that stays calm no matter what, in spite of. The sky is falling. Where you gonna go? Sky's everywhere. Where you running to? The world is ending. Where you gonna go? I say, don't panic.
Don't panic.
Kick back. Everything's gonna be all right, despite of and regardless. It always is. It's just our reaction to certain things. Now, imagine had those guys jumped up, but those guys knew what they brought to the table.
They knew.
They knew without a doubt that
they were trained for this.
Yeah, they knew without a doubt that these guys here was bluffers. They kill us.
Hey, you see, hey, if you look at that again, that first dog, the second dog didn't get so close. That first dog got as close as he probably could till he became uncomfortable.
He did.
That's not what he was used to.
Yeah.
And sometimes, man, you got to understand the training is already in you.
Yep.
Trust the process.
That's it. Trust the
process. Man, I seen this one today, and I said, man, I'm going to have to use this one. I'm going to use this on the show probably about the next couple of months. I mean, it was just.
And this one to center field. Denzel Clark on the move back after he stepped. Oh my God! He makes another catch.
Oh my God!
Back-to-back weeks where he wins the electric play of the week, and he's already on the leaderboard for this week.
Never give up.
Never give up, Doc.
Never give in.
Never give up. That's the first thing that came to my mind, man. Never give up. The dude thought he had a home run. That guy is like, no, I don't see no home run. I see an out.
I got this.
And the thing is, man, it's so many metaphors that can go with that. Is that they counted him out, number one. Number two, he had to climb that mountain to get where he got to get where he had to go. You know what I'm saying? And so it's so many lessons in life, spiritually, physically, mentally, a total holistic approach that we have to understand, that we have to make sure that we are good in order for this daily battle that we are dealing with at work, home, life, or just, walking the streets, man. You have to always be prepared. And one thing that we understand that men, man, we live with our head on the swivel. We live with our head on the swivel, man, because we have to.
See,
you know what I'm saying?
You ain't got to get ready. You got to be ready.
You got to be ready. And some people look at that as, well, I think that's, probably a negative way. And I look at things on the flip side. I'm always being prepared for confrontation.
Yeah.
I'm always confrontation ready. And don't mean that I'm bringing confrontation to you. What I'm saying is, when the confrontation comes to me, I'm going to catch you off guard, because you don't even know I seen you coming with the mess. I'm already prepared for it. So while you coming up with these negative statements, I already got a positive response.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And when you start thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead of people because you prepare, it throws people off guard and they don't know how to attack you.
Yep.
That's all it is. My thing is, with everything that we do in life, when you are doing positive and you are doing things on the right path and you doing things to help people, you got to understand, as you go to them levels, and I say this all the time, new levels, there's new devils. People want to see you fail, and it's sad, but people want to see you fail. This is like writing a story of your life in erasable ink. What you said. That's what Starla just said. If that makes sense.
I love
All
it.
right, man. I know I done had your time, but let me ask you, and I like to ask people this as we wrap up. Is there anything that you want to ask me before we get off this thing?
Well, I just want to say to this to say congratulations for what you're doing. Because I truly believe that consistency is what allows us to be successful.
Yeah.
A lot of times we'll start something and we'll get frustrated and we'll stop. What I have seen and seeing you do what you do is you've been very consistent, you've been very persistent, and that to me is very inspiring. And I say just keep keeping on, brother, because the best is yet to come. The rest of your life is the best of your life. You ain't seen nothing yet. And I'm not trying to be a prophet, but I say without a doubt, get ready for the next chapter that you don't get to write. I want to ask you this. I am going to be finishing up my book. It should be done by the end of August. Right now I have 10 chapters. And I still got to go and do some revising of those 10, probably add another 1,000 words each chapter. It's an incredible book. It's a memoir. It's entitled right now, Impact Over Income. Impact over income. Because I think what happens is we all want to make money. But I truly believe if we were to live our lives to drive impact, it's just like an asteroid about the size of a dime falling from the sky. If it survives through the Earth atmosphere and hits the ground, it's going to make an amazing impact. Imagine if it was the size of a car, the impact that it would make. That's the same thing that I think about what you're doing right now. You're making an impact and you're leaving an impression. I want to leave an impression. I want to hope and pray that once I get my book done, I'd love to come back and get to share what I've written about with the people, with your audience, and let them know that I'd like for them to go and purchase. Also, I have a big event coming up on the 21st of June where I'm bringing in Larry Johnson, Magic Johnson's older brother, who when Magic was winning championships, he was out there on crack, jumping out of windows from having a gun put on and misfired.
Yeah.
People don't know that story, but he and I have been really good friends for a long time. Just, when you see people in the limelight, you think that they have just, but man, they grind, they work. You want to have some of the things that you see people have, but are you willing to go through what they went through? So
Absolutely.
That's all I'm saying is you have gone through, and I've seen that, and you're making an impact. And I hope that, as time go on, things that I'm doing, we can find a way to collaborate and make an even bigger impact going forward.
I mean, we're going to do it. You and I going to collaborate. We're going to take it to the next level. I got some people on the team that can continue to help inspire some things, because I'm going to get with you after the show to talk about some other little things with some people that I collaborate with to help you on some other things to make things a little bit easier with you, man. And my thing is the collaboration piece is so big. We can all grow together. With the old saying, we can all eat together, and just go from there. And I appreciate your words of encouragement. And just got two things of encouragement that people have said. Chef Lola identified the interview with Ron has been incredible. I am so grateful to see him in his element. Can't wait for his book release. I know that's the truth. And Langston identified Ron Johnson. I needed that quote. I've been dealing with getting back focused on that. Thank you. And that's the thing, man. We and also Marquisa stated that the enemy is the enemy. I have to share that, and we got to continue. And that's the thing, man. I want to encourage people every week to continue to share. My goal is to bring people on the show to make a different impact on stuff that people didn't even know that's going on in our community. Because everything, even though we got so many people doing a lot of stuff, everything is still segregated to a certain section. You know what I'm saying? And I want to bring exposure to what all of us are doing in the community and the impacts that we're making, or just getting the word out some way, somehow. And so, my thing is my impact and that I want to continue to do, man, is take my education, my experience, and the tools that I have gathered over the time to teach other people how to take all that and create their own toolbox.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And use that toolbox to go and grow.
That's it. Yeah.
All right. Brother Ron, man, I want to thank you for coming on. We will set another date. I guess we're going to probably look for about October before you head off somewhere. I've seen you some dates, October, November, somewhere in there. We can see what that book is talking about. And we're going to go from there. All right.
Sounds
good.
To
the audience. All right. Audience, remember, continue to like, share, go to YouTube, get notified of all the information, all the stuff that the Raw Approach is doing, because I want you to get information, because, hey, we're going to grow with you or we're going to grow without you. But either way, we're going to grow and we're going to go. Hey, remember, small victories lead to greater success. I am Dr. Woods, and you have just been hit by the Raw Approach.